I appreciate everyone being here today, and another exciting day. I've had a number of them stacked on top of each other here of late. It has been a busy last 3 weeks, not only in preparation for Eastern Washington, but then trying to find the right people, and the gentlemen to my right are definitely the right individuals to join me here at North Dakota State. Prior to talking about each one of them, I need to make comment to some of the guys who are returning, who are in the room right now but may not be sitting up front with us. One is Coach Cramer. He was recruiting objective number one, is keeping him here. I don't know how he got out of here with not having to wear a suit today, so I'll have to talk to him. But Nick Gazer, our special teams coordinator, defensive tackle coach, I've leaned on him since day one that I got here. I'll continue to lean on him. Nick does a phenomenal job with the defensive tackles, ultra organized with our special teams, and look forward to him continually improving those units. Budda Williams, our defensive end coach. Anyone who watches us play sees the high level that our defensive ends play with. You look at the Greg Menards, the Derek Tuskas, and he's got some unbelievable young kids in the room as well, and super excited to keep him on board. Ben Klinger, our offensive quality control, keeps that offensive side organized. I can just talk to Randy and Tyler, and I know his value. Daniel Goodman, our quality control on defense. Without him, I'd probably go in there and forget what cut-ups we need to be watching that day. He's one step ahead of me, and maybe the only person I've ever met who gets here earlier than I do. And then lastly, Cody Morgan, of course, on the coaching side of things. Cody coaches our corners, does an unbelievable job with those kids. He has a relatively young room. You look at the Josh Hayes, the Marquise Bridges of the world, and those kids continually get better week in and week out, and a lot of that has to do with the excellent coaching that Cody provides. Some of our support staff, Jake Otten, will take over as a director of football operations. Many of you know Jake has been our video coordinator. That part of his job will still fall underneath his oversight, but we're going to give him a number of other responsibilities as well as we try to grow. And then the last thing is probably Margie Trickle. She's the one lady that I will probably get off the phone with my wife to answer her phone call first. And so Margie's been here for 30 years, extremely valuable asset to me in this transition. And I know that Coach Kleiman and all the coaches before have created a huge respect for what she does for our football program. When I was named the head football coach on the Thursday before the South Dakota State game, I immediately went into what next? Well, the first thing I wanted to do was recruiting of our current roster, and then I needed to find the right people to continue with this program, because I know this program is much bigger than me, much bigger than any one coach, and it takes a village to get this thing going in the right direction. The things that I was looking for, first and foremost, were people that had the same integrity and values that I have and that my family has, so they needed to fit that role. If we're going to trust NDSU Bison and the football program to 10 different coaches, they need to be the right people. And I know these men are mentors. I've worked with a number of them previously, and I have a great connection with a lot of them who they've worked with. So I trust their references and the people they've been with. Secondly, I was finding the best teachers available, and I think these guys' careers, their stats speak for themselves, and I couldn't be more happy to have them join me. And then lastly, they needed to have a connection to our program. Those of you who are here realize that NDSU football and Bison Nation and Bison pride is different than everywhere else in the country. We're going to keep it that way. But I needed people who could come here and learn what being a Bison was about, and if it wasn't me in front of the room, still could reflect what being a Bison was all about. And with that being said, I'm going to introduce the gentleman to my right. First off, he's been here for the same number of years I have, and he's been here 5 years, and that's Randy Hedberg. We changed Randy's title. Randy will be the associate head coach and pass game coordinator. Randy was one of the gentlemen I visited with first when the opportunity came up for me to become the head coach, and I asked him, well, what do you think, Coach? That tells you a little bit about my respect for him. It was critical that he stayed with me in this process. Randy's experience is off the chart. He's probably forgotten more football than I've known, and I look forward to continually working with him as we move forward. Next to him is Mr. Bison, Tyler Roehl. You couldn't find a better example of a Bison pride and what being a Bison's all about. Being from West Fargo, being a former player, green and gold, if you cut him, he'd bleed it. And it's exciting to have him here and his family. And I look forward to him taking over as the offensive coordinator. The new hires, next to Tyler's is David Braun. It's been a long time. My first connection with David was when he was 17 years old. I was probably sitting in his home somewhere doing a home visit. And I've seen David grow as an individual and as a coach, and super excited to have him here. And his family will be joining him soon. Alongside of him is Grant Olson. I tell you what, my first year here in 2014, this young man taught me as much about being a Bison as anybody, and I'm so excited that we could get him back. You look at his body of work in his short career, it's unbelievable. He went to Wyoming, helped Coach Bull get that program turned around, went to Indiana State the last 2 years, and you talk about a program that had as big a turnaround as anyone in the country, and from talking to Coach Mallory, Grant was as big a part of that turnaround as anybody. And so I'm privileged to have him. He's going to be a critical part of our defense and our growth of our defense. You know, and he's going to coach our linebackers as well. And I know our guys are excited to work with him, and had an idea a long time ago that he was going to be the linebacker coach. And Ross, you're right. That was the one, all right, guess you took on out there in social media. That was correct. So I will acknowledge that today. To his right, AJ Blazek. AJ is going to be our offensive line coach. AJ and I have a history, probably about 12 years now, going back to our D2 days at Winona State and then a one-year stint at Western Illinois. You talk about a quality person, quality family. To me, one of the top offensive line coaches in the country. Spent the last 3 years at Rutgers University. Prior to that, it was at Western Illinois. Can't say enough about him. I've gotten in my short career. I've gotten to know the staff at the University of Iowa very well, and those guys rave about AJ. And he's a critical part of what I believe this program needs. We hang such a big hat on the Rams and their success, and there's no one better to take over that room than Coach Blazek. And then lastly is Noah Pauley. Noah's been the last 3 years, he's been the offensive coordinator at the University of Minnesota Duluth. This last year, 12-0. Regular season, has done an unbelievable job. Noah has some national championship pedigree in his background. He won 2 as a player at University of Minnesota Duluth. And Noah played for Bob Nielsen, the same man that I played for. And when it was coming time to identify people and make phone calls, you all know my connection with Coach Nielsen, and this was an easy slam dunk hire in my opinion. And Noah will be working with the wide receivers. Today, after this, we're done, our first staff meeting will take place. So at about 4 or 5 o'clock, you can call them all and find out what kind of head coach this guy's going to be. But I'm excited to have these guys here. And at this time, I'll take any questions that you might have prior to getting them up on the podium.
Matt, how important was it to have, I guess, Randy and Tyler both on staff for you?
Unbelievably important. The continuity was the main key. Both of them bring a ton of experience, not only football experience, but being a Bison. Coach Hedberg, we jest, but I think it's real. He knows about everybody in the state of North Dakota, and or knows somebody that knows somebody. And I think that was valuable for me being a first-time head coach and taking over a program like this to be able to lean on somebody. And he's earned the title of associate head coach.
It's also important to get some outside perspective, not only people involved in the program, but maybe someone from like a Rutgers, just to bring a fresh perspective into the staff.
I definitely think so. You know, it was important twofold. Bringing guys back like Grant was critical for me, just guys who've been Bison. We lost 24 seniors. We're going to have a relatively younger operation next year, and we need to be able to reflect what being a Bison is from the coaching staff as well. But I too wanted outside ideas. You know, sometimes we get caught in the idea that football is only played here at NDSU. There's good football all over the country. And I'm not saying by any means we're going to reinvent anything, but I think we can make our operation more efficient and maybe do just a little bit different. We still got to make the 12 teams next year prepare for us.
Do you still have one more position job yet to hire out, and what's the timeline on that?
I do. I hope it's sooner than later. We finished up with our last interview today.
Was this process process easier or harder than you thought it'd be, Matt? I mean, it's the first time you've had to assemble a staff before.
The timing of it probably made it a little bit more difficult. Those of you who know me well, I tried to jump in with both feet early, had a couple interviews during the preparation period for Eastern Washington, and then probably a week out, I realized that I needed to put all my focus back into the current players. They were what was most important, the current team right here at NDSU. So kind of slowed things down for the last week. And then down at the AFCA convention, had a couple interviews as well. And then, as I mentioned just previously, we had one today. And I look forward to being done with it.
You certainly have experience yourself. There's experience in your coaching staff. But these guys are fairly young. How important and how valuable is youth in college football these days?
Well, I think it's probably a young man's sport. And I think it's critical in the recruiting process of it. But, you know, all these guys have had a ton of experience. I wish I was as sharp as some of these guys at their age. And I look forward to working with them. I know Tyler Roehl and Coach Hedberg, who've been here for a few years, will do a great job with the offensive guys. And if I need to sit in on the defensive meetings, I sure will, and I plan on doing that just to kind of get Dave accustomed to terminology and how we operate. But again, I'm going to lean on the guys up in the back of the room, the Nick Gazers, the Budda Williams, and Cody Morgans, who've been part of our program for the last few years to help out as well.
You mentioned knowing some of these guys since they were 17 or their college days. What's it like seeing them up here now, you know, today?
Well, you heard my voice crack, so it was pretty cool to have them up here. I think the world of all these guys.
Matt, have you determined who's going to be recruiting where yet?
We have a pretty good idea. There'll be a couple changes. We're going to talk more about that when we get into our staff meeting later today. Our number one objective right now is we have 3 to 4 slots still available for the 2019 class. We're going to go attack that as a unit rather than worry about individual areas. That'll be more laid out for the spring.
You're still going to be the Minneapolis guy? Would you still be in the Twin Cities?
Excuse me?
You're still going to be in the Twin Cities?
I will be less there in the cities. I anticipate Coach Olsen taking over Minneapolis.
You had a position coach prior as kind of a recruiting, but you also had Coach Jacobs, who was in the
Yep.
administrator role. Are you planning on replacing him or that recruiting position that's not a coach?
Yes, we are. Jake Otten has taken over some of the administrative duties, academics, travel, all those things that kind of fall underneath that operations umbrella. We will be hiring another recruiting coordinator directly that hopefully can be the buffer between the outside world and our staff and help us stay organized throughout the recruiting process.
Relationships are always such a big thing. Do you feel like you've assembled a group of guys that can work together and can have those tough conversations?
No question. I felt like that was one of the things, you know, a lot of people asked, who are you going to hire? If they can get along with me, they can get along with these guys over here can get along. And I look forward to it. There's going to be some fun conversations at times, but they're football coaches. I mean, and they're all about the players. And so we're going to do what's the best to put the best product on the field. And these guys are all great recruiters and great communicators. And, you know, I look forward to seeing the type of athlete we're able to bring here to North Dakota State.
Okay, Coach Entz, thank you very much. We'll wrap up there, and we'll continue on with our quarterbacks coach, Randy Hedberg, the new passing game coordinator and associate head coach for the Bison. Randy, a few comments from you, please, to begin.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Beth for saying our staff is young. I really appreciate that. I do appreciate that, Beth. I feel very honored and proud to be in this position and what Matt has given me, and both in the offensive side and being in the coaching side of it. You know, one thing that I want to mention is I've had pretty good relationships with Matt and Tyler, and they've earned those spots. Matt has earned the right to be the head football coach at NDSU, and so has Tyler as an offensive coordinator. They've earned that right, and I respect it, and that's one thing that we're going to work on, and one thing I think is really important on the staff. And it was so good, you know, 5 years ago when we did this with Coach Kleiman, and I think the same thing's happening right now with Coach Entz. It's a great staff, one that I'm really looking forward to, especially in the offensive side. I think we got great experience, guys that have been play callers, guys that have been head coaches, and I think that's really important in putting a staff together. So, and I'm excited about it. And we got a young football team, and I got a young group of quarterbacks, and they're excited to get to the next step and make that next move to 2019, and that's going to come fast for us. So we're looking forward to it. So Any questions?
You're somebody who sparked a lot of interest. I know in interviews I did with K-State media. What was it that made you want to stay? Everybody was excited about you. Everybody was intrigued about what you've been able to do with quarterbacks like Carson and Easton. What was it about NDSU? What made you want to stay here?
Well, Beth, I've had this is my 6th position as a football coach in college football. It's the best place I've ever coached, no question about it. One thing that makes NDSU so special, and people ask me numerous times, what do you look for in a school or a program to make it special? Well, first of all, it starts with administration. You want your administration to support athletics, and we do. We do here at NDSU. From the top with Dr. Brashani all the way down to Matt and everybody else that's involved with athletic administration here at NDSU. Our fan base is unbelievable. I'm a native North Dakota, and I'm very proud to be at NDSU. It makes me proud to go and recruit the state and bring kids from North Dakota to NDSU and play and have success. And we've had success with young players, all the way from 9-man to 11-man players. So that's why I chose NDSU and why I'm proud to be here.
Any additions or subtractions to your game day duties?
We haven't really discussed that yet, Ross. I'm sure that'll be coming up here in the next few days and all with it, but I'm looking forward to working with Tyler. I know that.
How much, Randy, do you think you'll have you and Tyler be collaborative going forward now?
I'm sure we'll work together pretty well. Like I said earlier, I respect Tyler. He's a good young coach, and I'm looking forward to working with him. And we've had good 5 years together, and I think we've got a pretty good friendship, and we're going to build on that.
Can you touch a little bit on what you think makes Tyler the right man to be the next OC? What you've seen from him over the years, the way he's connected to young players and the energy he brings?
Well, I think you hit it. He has energy. He has enthusiasm for the game. I think he has a real good depth of football knowledge. And I think he's learned that through the years, and he's gotten better. I think we can put a game plan together. And one thing that we do in the offensive guys, the new offensive guys that are joining us will figure out, we work together. It's not a 1-man or 2-man show. It's going to be a 5-6-man show offensively, where we're going to put a game plan together, and AJ and Noah are going to be as important as myself or Tyler in putting that plan together. And we're going to incorporate that whole part of it. Ben Klinger is extremely important to us in that role also. So we'll have a good plan going into it, but Tyler brings the energy and compassion for the game, and I think that's the important parts.
All right, Coach Hedberg, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Move on to Coach Tyler Roehl, going into his 7th year on the Bison coaching staff, the new offensive coordinator.
Well, thank you. It's a special day for myself, to be a part of this program, to be a player and a coach, and now going into the 12th season, it means a lot to me. Really appreciative to Coach Entz for this opportunity to be the offensive coordinator. Want to send a couple of thank yous to the people who really have been mentors to me and role models to me here at NDSU, starting with Coach Bohl, who recruited me here to NDSU. Laid that foundation. Gus Bradley, a couple of my position coaches in Tim Polisek and Steve Lockway. I owe them a lot. Pat Perlis, who's the offensive coordinator when I played here. Really appreciative to Coach Kleiman, who brought me back here in 2014 to be a position coach. And Coach Entz hit it on the head. Coach Cramer, what he does for us as players, what he continues to do for us, he's a huge asset for us, and really look forward to working with him. The most special thank you is to my wife, Mary. She's allowed me to pursue my goal, my dream. She's sacrificed a lot for us, and really appreciative of her and what she does for our family. Really excited, our staff, you guys hit on it. Coach Hedberg, a guy that I'm going to lean on a lot. He's called plays before. He like Coach Entz said, he's probably forgotten more football than what I know, and I'm going to lean on him a lot. He understands the game. He understands, a lot more quarterback play than I know, so I'm going to lean on him a lot. excited working with Coach Blazek and Coach Pauley. I think two guys that are going to bring a lot of energy, passion, enthusiasm out there on the practice field. And then Coach Klinger, who's going to kind of keep us in line and do the behind-the-scenes work that will keep this thing going. As an offense, I look at it, and the goals for me as the coordinator is, number one, have the most physical group in the nation. That's been the main theme, since I stepped on campus in 2004. Have a efficient pass game. I think that's going to be really important. It's all about the ball. We cannot turn the ball over, okay? When we have the opportunity, we've got to make explosive plays as well. And as we get going here and looking into spring ball, the main theme is going to be competing. Learning how we do things here at NDSU, learning how to huddle, how to sprint to the line of scrimmage, how to communicate, how to do all those things is going to be really important. And at the end of the day, it's going to be real simple. We're going to get to work. We've got a lot of young kids, and one thing that I've learned over the years here is we will not flinch on graduation day. There's going to be a lot of seniors that are leaving, but what an opportunity for these young guys. So really excited for them, but excited to get back to work with these guys. So with that, I'll open it for questions.
You mentioned this is something you've been looking forward to a long time. What are you most anticipating? What are you most excited about now with your new position?
Oh, as a coach, you get into this profession to have a positive impact, to lead, to coach. And all along, I've had a position group. And then with that position group, you get more responsibility with special teams. And now it's going to be, the offense. So to have a positive impact on, half of the team is really what I'm excited about, to get them going on a Friday night meeting and pregame, to motivate an entire offense. That's what I'm looking forward to, and continue to work with this staff is something that I'm really excited about.
A lot of things stayed the same when it went from Brent to the next coordinator, and then to, of course, Coach Mess, and now to you. How much is, not fixing what's not broken, and how much do you want to put your own spin on the offense?
Yeah, I still think there's some things we can do as far as formationally, personnel-wise, just getting different personnels and doing some different things out of different personnels. But at the end of the day, it's going to stay the same, whether it's shift, trade, motion, to create a different picture for the defense. We're going to run the power, do some different run action, play action stuff. There'll be a few different things that we will do as an offensive staff. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Bison football, and like I said, number one goal is to be the most physical group in the nation.
How valuable has that time been for you, serving under Polisek, serving under Messingham, and just the things you've been able to take from two very different people, but two very successful OCs?
Yeah, you hit that right, two different people. But, you learn a lot from them. Tim was as an excitable person, passionate, intense, coach that I've been around, but the thing that I'm going to learn from him is you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. And I appreciate him for that. And then Coach Mess, it's just the way you game plan, the way you look at a defense and just find different areas to attack a defense. I'm going to learn that, or I have learned that from him. That was really special for me to go from Coach Polisek to Coach Messingham, just two different ways to attack a defense. It kind of mold those together, and then hit back at the beginning to add from Coach Vegan and a Coach Perlis as well. Just a lot of mentors that have helped mold the way I think and coach right now.
When you have this new group of coaches that don't necessarily know each other well, what are the first few steps in getting to know each other's styles and each other's people?
It's going to be interesting because we're all here today, but then we're going to get on the road recruiting. It's probably going to take a while for us to really understand each other. But first and foremost, my objective is to teach them, how we've done things here. But I also don't want to be around just yes men, as far as, hey, we're going to do it this way, so that's the way we're always going to do it. I don't think we need to do that. I want to look at the overall scope of why we've been doing things the way we've been doing them. Is there a way you could tweak something? Absolutely. So I'm really excited to work with these guys to potentially change something different that could help us as well. But definitely teach them how, the culture of NDSU and what it means to be associated with this program and university.
When was the last time you had a chance to call plays, and how important is spring ball for kind of getting in a rhythm as a play caller?
I've done a few things during practice as far as, maybe helping with, call a no-huddle series or do some of the 2-minute things. Going back to calling plays would probably be at Morat High School. I was calling the defense. I called some offensive scrimmages. Those have been things that, I cherished and learned from. I learned a lot. But, within a game, like Coach Hedberg said, it's the whole staff that has input. It's not just one guy calling it. So I may give my ideas, my feedback on, what I think would work, whether it's in the openers or normal down and distance, through game planning. I did a lot of the 12 and 21 personnel formations. I feel like I helped a lot in the red zone. Called it somewhat, on game day here, but wasn't the one who put the final touch on it.
You determined yet if you're going to be on the field or up in the booth yet, or is that a decision you haven't made yet?
I think it would be best to be up in the booth. You just get overall vision of everything that's going on. Being the defensive coordinator at Morat High School, that's where I was, and I was comfortable up there. Like I said, just seeing everything. Gonna miss being down on the field, being close to action, but I think it would be smart for me to be up in the booth.
As a kid from West Fargo that played at NDSU, that is now the offensive coordinator here, you feel like you got the keys to the Cadillac?
It's just been a process. I'm humbled by the opportunity, but it's at the end of the day, I'm not satisfied with where we're at. We're going to continue to improve and compete with an urgency. Offensively, last year, statistically, that was one of our best years. But as a staff, we're not going to be satisfied with that, and we're going to try to continue to improve. So it's going to be a day-by-day process and just getting to work.
Coach Roehl, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring up David Braun. Spent the last 2 years in the Missouri Valley Football Conference at Northern Iowa. New defensive coordinator and safeties coach for the Bison.
I just want to start off by thanking Coach Entz, Matt Larson. This is an opportunity that I don't take lightly, and couldn't be more excited about what's ahead. Honestly, can't put into words, how excited our entire family is. Wife Kristen, who's back in Cedar Falls right now, getting the family ready to move. 2 young boys, Andrew 1, Lucas is 3. Those boys love their football. They love the relationships that they've been able to form with our players down at UNI, and the transition up here is something that our entire family really looks forward to. I'm honored to have this opportunity, but one thing that I'm most excited about is the opportunity to work with this defensive staff. I've had an opportunity to admire what this program stands for a long time. In my years at Winona State, we used to come up and work camp. And you quickly realized what this program stood for, what this community stands for, and why there's been so much success here at NDSU. And in my time at UC Davis, I was currently asked, how do they do it? And I obviously didn't have that answer, but what I told them is, guys, there's non-negotiables in that program in terms of what they stand for, and the way they go about bringing in the right people to their program. And you could see that through camp. You could see that in the way that they recruited. And to have an opportunity to be a part of this, to collaborate with this staff, to get in the same room as Coach Gazer, Coach Williams with that defensive line group. I've watched a lot of defensive line play. That's where I played and started my career. And I haven't seen better
The job that those guys would do with that defense line group is absolutely exceptional. We know here that we will go as our D-line goes, and have an opportunity to get in the room with those guys is something I really look forward to. You know, Coach Olsen, he and I got a chance to get to know each other a little bit, working Northwestern camp while he was at Indiana State. He is going to be a wealth of knowledge for us in that room, having played that position on 3 national championship teams. You know, it's been fun. You know, already today we're getting in the room and watching some film and sharing ideas, and you know, that is going to be a relationship that I really look forward to building and putting that linebacker room in positions to continue to do great things. Coach Morgan, you know, the same thing, has done a tremendous job with our cornerbacks. You know, he and I, again, in the room, taking a look at some things, jumping into an understanding of how we do things on the back half here, and making sure that I'm getting up to speed in terms of what we're telling those guys and how we're coaching them. To me, that's what's amazing about this game is the fact that it takes a team. And that's what's amazing about this profession. You know, you get an opportunity every day to step into a room with 10 other guys, or in a defensive staff room, 5 other guys, and collaborate and, you know, put a plan together and look at things differently, share ideas, and at the end of the day, make a decision and then go, you know, all pull in the same direction. And to have a room like we have here at NDSU on the defense side of the ball is something that I feel honored to be a part of, and couldn't be more excited about stepping into that opportunity.
Questions for Braun?
Obviously, as you mentioned, the defensive prowess of NDSU kind of leads itself. What's it like to take over? Is that pressure? How do you handle that? What's it like to know? I mean, Code Green isn't just a big deal in North Dakota. It's a big deal across college football.
Absolutely. It's exciting. You know, as a competitor, you want pressure. You want high expectations. You want standards that you want to meet and then find a way to exceed. So very excited for that opportunity.
You also touch on the relationship with Matt Entz. I mean, he obviously got choked up introducing you. What's he meant to you, and what's it mean to not just be able to join his staff, but you're filling his shoes as well?
You know, I'm in the position that I am today because I've been around incredible coaches and mentors as a player, as a GA, as a coach. And it started with him. He showed me the way as a player. He showed me the way as a GA. And, you know, at the end of the day in this profession, when you have your priorities in line and you know why you're doing it, the sky's the limit. And have been very fortunate to be around a lot of incredible mentors and football coaches, but none better than him.
David, what stood out to you from afar, seeing NDSU, especially the last 2 years on defense, that really impressed you?
It's the speed that our players play with. It's the physicality. It's the grit. It's the determination. It's the unwavering attitude, regardless if you're up by 14 or down by 14, to find a way to win a football game and doing it as a team. And it stands out, you know, and as we've said in this room, it stands out across the country. I mean, my time out in California, you know, that's what everyone wanted to talk about, is how do they do it and how can we get ourselves to that point.
For those who may not know you, what's your style? What's your leadership style, your coaching style, and your thoughts on defensive football?
You know, leadership style, collaborative. You know, to me, I want a room of guys that all want input, that have strong opinions, that have great ideas. You know, I think my strengths as a leader are the fact that I want that collaboration. I think I'm a really good decision maker, and I have an understanding that every decision has strengths and weaknesses. And at the end of the day, when things go well, you know, we did a great job. And if things don't go well, that falls back on me, and we got to find a different way to do it and put ourselves in a better situation.
Same kind of question as with Coach Roehl. You're taking over a defense that, you know, Coach Kleiman coordinated and then Coach Entz coordinated. It's a very successful defense. How much do you not want to fix what isn't broken, and how much do you want to put your stamp on this defense?
You know, I think my strengths throughout my career have been an understanding of, you know, what can our players do? What allows them to play fast?
and then the system should fit that. I think you have to constantly be evaluating that. It isn't broken. That wheel is rolling. Can we find ways to make that wheel go just a little bit faster? I mean, that's going to be the challenge ahead of us.
It's a little daunting to be taking over the role that was previously held by now the head coach or boss.
It's exciting. You know, I mean, again, as a competitor, as someone that just wants to attack new challenges, it's really, really exciting, and we're looking forward to it.
Coach Braun, thank you so much for your time. Move on to the new Bison linebackers coach and former linebacker, Grant Olson.
Hi, really happy to be here. That's the first thing I got to say. I am just so excited to be back in this room where I've spent so much time and had so many position meetings and team meetings, and to see so many familiar faces that I care so much about and that have just poured into me and my teammates and my friends so much. And I am just so blessed to be here. I'm so thankful for the opportunity. I'm so thankful for the people that were here when I was a player and that taught me so much. It's been fun already being back on campus and walking around a little bit and running into people that I've known and maybe I haven't seen for 5, 6, 7 years, but remember me and remember a time that we worked together or got to know each other, and it's just so exciting being back. Amy and I can't wait. We can't wait to move here. We can't wait to be a part of this program and this team, this university, this city, this state. We love Bison football. We love North Dakota State athletics. We love this university. We love Fargo, North Dakota. We love the state of North Dakota. It's just home. And the reason why I know I came back was to be home. And I'm so excited to live close to my in-laws who are here today. I'm so thankful for them. They're amazing. Amy's coming back on Saturday. I wish she could be here, but she's got some training to do, and she's got her own challenges ahead that she's working on. But I know she's excited to be back and be around. I would be remorseful if I didn't thank Coach Entz. I will never forget the first time I heard his name was when I was talking to Coach Kleiman down in Frisco, Texas in 2013, getting ready to play my last game of my college football career, and he told me that he was going to hire Coach Entz, and he talked about his humility and his character, and those are two things that stick out to me about him so much, and I admire so much, and I'm so excited to work for him. He's a fantastic man, and I know I told my wife, Amy, that it's going to be really hard for us to ever want to leave, and I told her I would never take a job that wasn't for such a person of such high character. So thank you to Coach Entz. I'm getting a little choked up, but we are just excited to be back. I'm excited to work with such a fine staff, some of them that I played for. Coach Gazer coached me on special teams. And I remember one offseason going into his office and saying, Coach Gazer, I want to get better at pass rush. Teach me about it. And he taught me about our D-line pass rush. And I remember after that making some plays because of what he taught me and knowing how I could play off our defensive line and what they were trying to accomplish. And he made me a better player. And that's just one example of many. And I'm really looking forward to becoming a better coach. I want to come in here and I want to learn. And you may say, well, you've been here and you know a lot of things. Why do you say that? And like, well, I want to get better and I want to make this place as good as it can. And there's an awful lot of coaches that know more than me and have more experience. And I want to sit back and be humble and listen to them. And if there's something that any of them can offer to me to make me a better coach, I want to sit back and listen, and I want to do that. So there's a lot of great people in this town that I'm looking forward to reconnecting with and being back and working for. But I'm especially excited about this staff and an incredible group of men, and I'm excited to coach the Headhunters. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Questions for Coach Grant Olson?
You've talked about how great it is to be back, but how valuable was that time away? What have you taken? How has that made you a better man, a better coach to bring things back to NDSU?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing was obviously just being with great coaches. I'm extremely grateful to Coach Bull, you know, the guy that recruited me and a guy that hired me for my first job away from here, and for Coach Standard and Coach Vegan and all those guys that were at Wyoming that I worked with. Obviously, Kurt Mallory brought me to Indiana State, and he taught me a lot. Coach Wilson, our defensive coordinator, he made me a better coach. He taught me a lot of football. All the guys there. So it was great in terms of getting away and going and experiencing different cultures and going and seeing what a different strength coach may operate like, or a different coordinator may operate like, or a different head coach, tradition at different places, players at different places. So it was great for me to get out and to get away, and then to be able to reflect on things and said, you know, here's what we did so well at NDSU, and here's some of the reasons they were successful, and here's maybe a couple things that we could learn here, and that we could do things just slightly better. And I know everybody's here is excited to continue what we have going, and I think everybody here is excited to learn. And that's one of the things I know when Coach Entz and I spoke on the phone a couple times, him talking about, Grant, you've been away and now you're coming back, and you're going to be able to offer some great insight about ways that we can continue to improve, and you'll have some new ideas, and that's going to help Bison football. So I'm really thankful to all the coaches I worked with, both at Wyoming and at Indiana State, as well as the players. I would also be remorseful if I didn't say thank you to them. I had an incredible group of young men in the linebacking room at Indiana State, and I'm going to miss them. But I'm always going to love them and care about them, and I'm looking forward to them to continue their success as well.
Was this a no-brainer when you heard that the opportunity was there?
Yeah, it was just. I know talking to some of the coaches there and talking to some of the players, and I wasn't looking to leave. I loved being at Indiana State. I thought we had a great coaching staff. I loved them. I had a great group of young men I got to work with every single day. But an opportunity to come back home and to be close to family, to my in-laws and to my parents, and to be around so many alumni that are friends that mean so much to me, it was just an opportunity that Amy and I as a family couldn't pass up.
Coach Olsen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's move to the offensive side of the ball. After 3 years at Rutgers, the new offensive line coach of the Bison, AJ Blazek.
Thanks so much. Just jacked to be here. Can't thank Matt enough. The Matt and Matt show's kicking off. I've seen North Dakota State for 8 or 9 years. I came up here and sat in the back row back there for camp. Was the last time I was in this room as a guest coach. And Coach Bohl, Coach Polisek, Coach Fuchs are some of the first guys I met up here, and kind of took me under their wing and had a lot of fun and became friends in the profession. And over the years, those relationships have grown. And Matt I knew when I was at Winona and doing that, and Dave played for us. I'm sitting up here watching all these guys talk, and Noah's up next. I've either coached or played again, coached the guys, or coached against every one of them. And have the most respect for him. It's been fun listening to Matt talk about putting the staff together, and we go back a long ways. It's fun to be here with him now, and as he started talking about things, it kind of came to fruition over time that everything I'd looked at North Dakota State from the outside, I've seen him the last 5 years on the inside and heard his stories and the love he has for this place. It was a no-brainer when the opportunity arose, and working with both Matts, the opportunity to come here and coach and bring my family. So we went to the convention last week, our national coaches convention, as things kind of came to a head and it was coming together. But my wife, as we left, I've got 4 kids. They're like a circus act. You guys will see them around all the time. I left 3 days later. I come back, and my wife's got half the house packed, and she's on cloud 9. She's an Iowa girl, and excited to get back here close to her family too. So we're pumped as a family. Can't say enough about that, and really looking forward to have the opportunity to coach the Rams and the tradition that they have. I'm glad we're standing up today. A lot of these you'll sit down on. I drove 22 hours from New Jersey in the last 2 days, and so I've been in the car communicating with a lot of friends. And it was funny, I mentioned the convention. The first guys I see, I catch up with Tim Polisek, Scott Fuchs, Pat Perlis, and we're sitting there talking football. And I'm kind of sitting back going, this is pretty cool how this all worked out. And we had a lot of fun and just ready to get going. Can't wait to get started. Already started communicating with some of the linemen. Randy, Tyler, I've given, we've started talking personnel, and just excited to get around these guys because it sounds like we got an unbelievable group of guys.
For Coach Blazek, please.
AJ, what do you see from afar? I know you're in the Big Ten, you're obsessed in that, but from afar, what does North Dakota State stand out to you on offense?
The Big Ten East, Big Ten West, we didn't play everybody, but coming up here, not only in the D2 world when I was younger, but watching, ain't nobody wants to play these guys. I said us now. And because their track record, I think it's 7 of the last 8 maybe. But you look at the guys that they've just knocked the doors out of, nobody wants to play us. And to be a part of this and the reputation, not from the football, but first thing Matt talked about was the character of guys here, the kind of kids that are in the locker room, and that goes way back. You know, Randy, what'd you tell me when we first talked? 60 years, like 3 losing seasons? So there's a lot of people that go into that, and it didn't just start a couple days ago or a couple years ago. To be a part of that and be around those kids, I'm a high school coach's kid. My grandpa was a longtime high school coach, and it's never been about level. The one thing that separates it a lot of times is money, but it's about coaching kids, having an influence on people. That's the kids you coach. It's the people you're in the room with. That's the fun part of it. And when you've been at all the levels, you really get a chance to go, okay, where do I fit best? And the people I'm around and the kids I get to affect.
You kind of touched on it there a little bit. If you talk about the levels,
sure.
You drew some attention when your name started popping up because you're leaving the FBS to come to the FCS. But you said this was a no-brainer. What can you kind of – I mean, to some people it might sound crazy.
No doubt. To a lot of people it probably sounds crazy. I get the sports world. And to a player, you look at a recruit and you go into a home and go, hey, I've coached in the Big Ten. I chose to leave it. And you look at reasons and opportunities, and it goes back to people. You know, it was just as goofy 2 years ago when I didn't leave Rutgers to go back to Iowa to be the O-line coach. And you do things because you want an influence. You want to be around people, great people. But it's an opportunity that I've got to grow myself. That's the selfish side of it. But also to have an impact with some great guys and be a part of something that's really, really special. It's going here. You know, I love building things. So to look at what we're going to continue to do and improve. But it's also, you know, I had a couple mentors go, hey, it's hard to start a train. It's kind of fun to ride a train. And right now, everything's going in the right direction in North Dakota State. It has been for a long time. And but from a level standpoint, it's like kids. You see kids why do they pick schools? You know, where you go where you're going to have a major impact and have a lot of fun because you work way too hard to not enjoy when you go to work every day and not enjoy the Saturdays. They're not guaranteed. And when you get them, you got to have fun in both those situations.
So you know about this team's success coming in, but when you hear from the other coaches about, you know, needing to come back here or needing to stay, how exciting is that for you?
Well, I'm sitting in my alma mater. I'm listening to Tyler talk. I'm going down the list here, and guys come back because of what went on in these rooms, the culture here. Very similar to where I played. And the opportunity for those guys and their passion, they put the sweat on the field. So now they get an opportunity to come back and have a lot of fun with that from the coaching side. They obviously appreciate it, look up to, admire their mentors. They get an opportunity to do that. That's a pretty special thing as a coach. That's why you get into it.
Coach Blazek, thank you very much. Finally, I'd like to bring up the new wide receivers coach of the Bison after playing and coaching at Minnesota Duluth, Noah Pauley.
Well, that is a tough group to follow. My goodness. But thank you very much. You know, thank you, Matt. And Matt, these guys are tremendous. Like I said, tough group to follow. They have a lot more experience at this than I do. That's what makes me so excited to be here. You know, these guys, I haven't been in this profession real long, but to be able to learn and grow from these guys is something I can't wait to get rolling on. So I got in this morning. Exciting thing for me, I sat in a plane from Minneapolis to Fargo, and my seatmate said he's been here all his life. And he said, what are you doing in Fargo? Well, I'm starting a job here. What are you going to do? Coach football. And just gives me a big high five. He said, let's go. So that kind of stuff right there gets you fired up to come to Fargo, you know, and that's why I'm here. And you know, I'm a Duluth boy. Been there all my life. You know, I've learned from some great guys in Duluth, and you know, from Coach Weezy and Coach Steger, guys that I have the utmost respect for. And it was really hard to leave, but to come to something like this and to have the city, the school, and everyone back you up is something that I can't wait to get started with. My wife is fired up. Coach Entz called me Tuesday on my way back from the convention, said, like you to come to NDSU, and called my wife after that, and the phone got silent for a little bit. She was very excited. She was yelling and screaming and in the background, and can't wait to get down there. She's ready for something new. I'm ready for something new, and to learn from guys like this, I just can't wait.
Questions for Coach Pauley, please.
You have experience calling some plays as well. How excited are you to work with this offensive staff. They said, you know, they're ready to feed the conversation and have it be a group. How important was that for you in accepting this job?
Yeah, sitting down and talking with Matt and especially Tyler and Randy on the offensive side of things. These guys are so passionate in what they do, especially, you know, Bison football, Bison offense, and it's something I feel like, you know, calling plays the last 3 years of my career is something I can bring a little bit for Tyler and Randy and AJ and give my 2 cents. You know, I'm going to be a guy that as well sits back and learns a lot, but I have that, like to say, pedigree to be able to stand up and say, hey, this is what we got to do, or this is what I feel like I should do with my position group, or give insight here and there. So I'm excited for that.
You're taking over a group that's had a couple of different coaches now. Some of these guys you're their third receivers coach that they will have seen in their career here. What do you say to those guys just about what they're going to go through with another transition?
Yeah, it's tough. It's absolutely tough for those guys, but I'm going to tell them I'm going to invest and develop them. I'm going to invest in them, not only them as a position group, but everyone on this team, everything Bison football, and then I'm going to develop them, not only as men, but as football players, make sure they graduate and make sure they enjoy their time here while they're under me.